Hi everyone, I am Danielle with Trinity Readings. We are going to do a quick energy check-in. This is going to be for the sign of Pisces. Keep in mind these are general readings, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you find that the reading doesn't resonate, you can always check your moon, rising, or Venus placements, because sometimes those will resonate more. And I do offer personal readings. You can, you can get all that information in the description box. All right, Pisces, let us see what is going on with your energy. Anything you need to be aware of. What is coming towards you. We're going to start out by pulling some message cards for you. Seeing what messages are wanting to come through for you. What your guides are wanting you to know right now. We're in like Saturn Pisces. Saturn is in Pisces right now. And so what that means for you is that like Pisces are like really good at like visualizing, really good at daydreaming, really good at kind of like escaping reality, but not really in a bad way, but like really like looking towards bigger and better things, right? But what Pisces tend to struggle with is bringing that energy into reality, right? It's easy to get kind of lost in that energy. Like Pisces are extremely intuitive. They're extremely connected to spirit, to energy, to everything. But because they're so connected to that kind of like spiritual world or the hidden world, it's difficult to kind of, it's difficult to ground in reality. And so what you're kind of being like when Saturn is in Pisces, that is about bringing those dreams into realities, like bringing even like illusions. Like a lot of times we hold on to a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, or a lot of like false assumptions, and we'll repeat those in our heads. And so it prevents us from taking certain action because we get so caught up in like the story that we're telling ourselves, right? And so even like addressing any illusions that you're holding on to that are keeping you from feeling grounded in your reality in a way, that you feel that the things that you desire and the things that you want are actually like feasible and in front of you and something that you can actually work with. And so even if like it's something little, something small, even if you have a desire to be more intuitive, right? Start doing more meditation throughout the day. If you have a desire to connect to more people, then do little things here and there that is going to like push you to like physically connect with people. You know what I mean? So like you don't have to like do anything big or major, but get into the practice of anything that you're like daydreaming about or wanting or focused on in your emotional world or your mental world. See what you can do to kind of bring that into reality in even in a small way. And that'll kind of help, because like you're really good at manifesting things if you can ground in it. And you have Mars, and Mars is about taking action towards the things that you desire, like following your passion, being in a more action-oriented space instead of being in a receptive space. I feel like when it comes to having the things that you desire or pursuing the things that you want, there's some sort of perception that in order to go after the things you want, or in order to have the things you want, you have to like sacrifice a lot of stuff, or you're going to lose support, or you're not, you feel that you can't go after the things you want because you feel that you don't have the support that you need, or you feel like you're going to lose something by pursuing the things that you feel passionate about. You don't have to lose who you are to get the things that you want. You don't have to completely bend yourself to other people or to other situations in order to get a little bit of what you want. I feel like you're being guided to focus on the boundaries. If you're like the boundaries you have set up, if you're not getting support from people in your life, like support towards the things that are important to you, then don't feel that you have to give any energy to the people that aren't supporting you. Let me get a little bit more on this message. It's like you're hesitating taking some sort of action because you don't feel that that action will be supported. You're not putting up the right kind of boundaries with people because you feel that you don't want to push people away. And so you're not putting up any boundaries at all with people because you don't want to lose certain people in your life. But because you're not putting up the right kind of boundaries, you're not getting the support from those people that you really need. I feel like you're definitely in the process of a pretty big shift and a pretty big transformation. I feel like you've been dealing with a situation that has kind of burned you like one too many times. You're tired of being burned. I feel like you're ready for a change, but I also feel like you're so like ready for this change that you might be like rushing forward. Or even like risking like rushing to the next shiny thing. Or the next option that looks a little bit more appealing. And you're being guided to give yourself, like, there's something that you're needing to acknowledge within yourself first. Like your deeper desires, your it's almost like without realizing it, you're ignoring your own intuition. You're following your instinct, thinking that it's intuition, but it's like instinct. It's like survival instinct. It's like there's something that burned you, it was like a cycle that you kept cycling through, and you kept getting burned over and over and over again. And so you're like, I'm just ready to move forward. I'm just ready to move on. I don't want to deal with this anymore. But there's a need to acknowledge the pattern within you that made it to where you were diving into these toxic experiences. Because it's almost like you're putting up boundaries and walls in places that you don't need boundaries. And then in the places that you do need boundaries and walls, you're not putting enough up. Because you're needing to take time to really dig deeper into what you're actually wanting, what your desires are, what your deep desires are, what your passion is. And I almost feel like when it comes to that, that's not normally something that you pursue. Like, to keep it simple, deep down, you're extremely attracted to deep down, you're extremely attracted to very spiritual people, but you don't pursue spiritual people because you have the assumption that that's not who you are. So, you know what I mean? So it's like you have like these deep desires, but you might not even pursue these desires because you feel like that's not in alignment, or that's not something available to you. But in the meantime, like you keep going towards what you're used to. And you're kind of being guided to get out of that mindset. Okay, let's see if we can get a little more clarity on what this message is. Anything that like pisses you off or triggers like any intense emotion in you, like whether that be intense anger, intense rage, intense frustration, intense emotion, that is also a cue to desires that you have deep down that you're not fully bringing to the forefront. Like your frustrations are also cues to what you're passionate about. And when you follow and pursue the things that you're passionate about, you get yourself in the flow of energy. You get yourself in the flow of abundance. You're showing up as King of Cups. Like you're the master of your emotions. You're the master of your feelings. You're very comfortable in your emotional world. You have a lot of love. You have a lot of love to give. But it's like there's nothing moving forward. You're feeling stuck. I also feel like when you love, you have a tendency to completely sacrifice. And I feel like it's important that you be mindful of where you might be making too many sacrifices in your emotional world. You have love. You have love available to you. You have love in front of you. You have an opportunity for love. You have an opportunity for romance. But it's like, you're like, I'm good where I'm at. Yeah, it's like there's this really like this relationship in front of you, this relationship around you that is really beautiful, that has a lot of potential. It's a really beautiful soulmate connection. But it's like, I feel like you feel that something's stuck or it's not moving anywhere, but it's like there's an opportunity for healing, an opportunity to open up to deeper emotions, but you're already trying to like disconnect and walk away from it. You have like a new beginning in front of you and you're not trusting it. Because I do feel that, again, it's like when you love, you give your 100%, you completely sacrifice. And I feel like in the past that has got you burnt. And so there's this opportunity for love around you, for very genuine love. But your assumption is that if you give into this, that you're going to sacrifice and you're going to lose everything. And so you're not trusting it. You might not trust your own emotions or your own feelings. But I feel like it's like you don't have to sacrifice to have love. You don't have to lose yourself. Having a relationship does not necessarily mean that you're going to lose yourself. The only reason that you lose yourself or that you lost yourself in the past was because of, the place that, the place that you were in. Like, you were clearing through cycles, you were healing karma, you were clearing past cycles. Like, you're much more emotionally grounded than you were, say, 10 years ago. You're in a much more stable emotional place than you were 8 months ago, a year ago. And so you might fear that kind of letting yourself surrender to this is going to take you under, but you're not the same person that you were before. Like, you're much more open to it than maybe you're giving yourself credit for. You have like really strong feelings, or there's a connection around you or a relationship that you're dealing with. Like, there's very strong, genuine feelings. I do feel that you're holding back. You're trying to hold yourself back. You're trying to put up boundaries. There's an opportunity to learn a lot in this connection. There's an opportunity to create something of value in this, but it's pushing you to really acknowledge not only what your deepest desires are, but your deepest desires are also going to hold your deepest fears. And so it's important to acknowledge that with desire also is going to, like, fear is going to come hand in hand. And there's a need to kind of address what that fear is and what that uncertainty is. Because you have, like, there's a very valuable relationship in front of you. There's a very solid relationship in front of you. I feel like you're connecting to somebody that like both of you really do want to build and grow something solid. It's almost like this connection is like inner child healing. And what I mean by that is, like, we all in some capacity have inner child wounds, because when you're a child, when you're born, you have this very free energy. A baby is like used to kind of everything being given to them. Like, when they cry, they get fed, right? But there's always going to be some point in a child's life where they like something was taken from them, or they wanted something and they didn't get it, right? And so for a child, that is like very detrimental, right? The first time you asked for a cookie and your mother didn't give it to you, it was probably very devastating to you. And it made you realize as a child, like, I can't have everything that I want, right? And so the initial moments in our childhood where we face rejection, where we face abandonment, where we face loss, it's very detrimental. Even though it seems very minor to a child, it's a big deal. And we hold on to those fears, and we hold on to those ideas, and we create these energies within ourselves and these patterns within ourselves to protect ourselves from getting hurt like that again. And so if, say for example, at the age of 4, anytime you ever asked for a cookie, your mom gave you a cookie, but at the age of 4, you asked your mom for a cookie and she said no. And every time after that you asked for a cookie, she would never let you have a cookie. So now every time you think about wanting a cookie, it makes you frustrated and it makes you mad, because it brings up that fear that you're going to see a cookie and you're not going to be able to get it. You know what I mean? And so you will see something that you really desire, and it's triggering a childhood fear that if you ask for that, you're going to get rejected, but it's not really what is happening. It's your fear. And so I feel like this is what is going on for you. Like, this is a lesson, or an opportunity to kind of grow for you, that when you're seeing and connecting to something that you really, really want, or that you feel a deep desire for, or the desires that you're holding deep down, there's a lot of fear attached to that. And if you really acknowledge what that fear is, and see that what's being reflected to you in this relationship is not really what is going on in the relationship, but very likely more your fears than anything, like you're giving yourself a whole new sense of freedom. And so like your guidance, 5 of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, it's like you're anticipating a loss, but there's a whole lot of potential. It's like what you're viewing as a loss is holding a lot more potential. Also, if you're basing things off past losses that you've dealt with, if you can look back on those losses and see what you gained from those losses, it will make those losses a lot easier to deal with, right? It has made you a better person, so it wasn't really a loss. Also, give yourself credit, like you're in a much different emotional space right now than you were, say, 5 years ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago, whatever it is. Like your emotional energy right now is much different than it was before. Yeah, there's like a huge opportunity for growth. Like there's so, like what you have been wanting is available to you. But there's a fear that if you give into this, that you will lose. And it's almost like recognize that you don't have to lose yourself in order to add something new into your life. You don't have to lose yourself in order to have a relationship. If you've been in relationships in the past that were like extremely codependent, there might be like a fear in stepping into a relationship moving forward, because you've been in those codependent relationships in the past and those people did not go away. But like something to keep in mind is you are not the same person that you were in the past when you got into those codependent relationships in the past. And so it's like, give yourself more credit. You have more options, or more of like more opportunity to make the choices that you want. Yeah, you're showing up as Four of Pentacles. Like, you're good by yourself. You're good by yourself. You're focused on yourself. You're focused on your money. But I do feel that there is love around you, or there is this desire to have love and this desire to have romance. But there's also a huge fear that a relationship is going to prevent you from moving forward. But I feel like it's important to understand that that's not necessarily the case. And you're it's like something has triggered this desire for you to protect yourself and push back, and you don't want to deal with any stress, and you don't want to deal with any conflict. Something that, like, I'm like really like, I'm fine. I can be independent. I can be single. Like, I'm good by myself. But it is important for us to have connection, because connections with other people are what help us grow and help us evolve. Like, the reason that we're meant to connect with other people is it helps us grow and evolve and experience more things. And so it doesn't mean that you don't have to have a relationship to function and survive. But it is good for your own, your own well-being. And there is a way to have a relationship that does not like completely restrict you, right? Okay, I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys have a good week. Bye-bye.